What's up, everybody? Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Super like, PayPal, Patreon. Fuck you. Anyway, today what I'm going to talk about, and I guess it's kind of, keeping along with that idea when I was talking about that omoiyari and the gaman and that gentle sadness of Japan. You know, how people don't actually really talk to each other. So, and people talking about girl stuff. So I guess I'll tell that story again from last year. The title I say banging girls who are mute or can't talk, something like, or deaf, or I don't know what I'll name the video, but not exactly clickbait, but sort of, if you think about it in a more deep way, right? So banging girls who can't talk in Tokyo, Shinjuku, Kabukicho, whatever, right? So, again, the story was that, I do have girls come up to me and hit on me, blah blah. I've talked about that Oyakodon story, the mom and the daughter. I've had a good amount of girls. Whatever country I'm in, I'm in. But anyway, so I was in the Kabukicho or whatever, and there's this cute little girl, right? And she's like hitting on me, and I'm like, oh, and she's like, take me back to your house for the weekend, and teach me English for the weekend, right? I'm like, we both know what that means, dude, right? And anyway, I was like, dude, I don't know, man. Are you sure, dude? And she's like, no, it's okay. Don't worry, blah, blah. And the funniest thing is, too, even the Japanese dudes around me, they were like, bro, what's wrong with you? She wants to go. It's okay. Like, dude, no one cares. It's okay. Go. It was like the Japanese dudes were ringing for me. And I'm like, her, encouraging us. And I'm like, well, geez, I get. And so eventually I was like, okay. Moving along, eventually, we get to the house or whatever, and we're on the bed. And before we actually start to go through with anything, I don't remember exactly what I said. It's probably something like, nozomanai nara nanemo ite iyo, daijoubu. Don't worry, if you don't want to do anything, just let me know. It's okay. And it was just like a soft little whisper thing, right? Before we started. But her reaction, it was extreme. You know what I mean? She's like, what? Really? And don't get me wrong, she pushed me on top of the bed, naked, and started kissing me. Really? Oh my God, you're so nice. No one in my entire life has ever told me that before. And dude, she's like crying, like bawling, bro. You know what I mean? And we're talking like boogers legitimately came out of her nose. And she's like, oh, sorry. She's like wiping it off my face, like, boogers, like, oh my God, no one's ever said that to me in my entire life. Anyway, but so I want you to think about this from multiple ways. Long story short, the reaction was so extreme. I was just expecting something, in a way, of course, in a way I fucked up, right? You could say that, maybe in a way, from a certain perspective, you could say that I was unconfident. The fact that I would even have to ask her, or just or tell her, be like, hey, if you don't want to do anything, just let me know. It's okay, But, there's also the perspective, and even when I've talked to other people, girls, other girlfriends, that kind of thing, they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have said anything, If a girl's going to, take a train with you and she wants to be with you for the entire weekend, you already know that she wants you. That kind of ruins her innocence. And that's what I want to talk about, this gentle sadness and everything, right? Ruining her innocence, right? She wants the man. She wants that experience, right? Of that man, treating her, again, there's this weird thing about being objectified and everything like that, because objectified can be negative, but you can also objectify someone in a positive way, right? Just again, sometimes I say, just like you can be a pervert in a bad way, and you can be a pervert in a good way, right? You know what I mean? If you can't truly have that raw desire for your partner, they're not going to feel special either, right? You want to feel that desire, right? And so, that kind of ruins the girl's innocence, the man-woman dynamic, right? You already know. You shouldn't have had to say it. Now, of course, you could say what I said was nice, and I think it was a nice thing to say, but especially in Japan, where they're even more submissive, let alone America, I probably shouldn't have said that if a girl was willing to go that far. You know what I mean? Just hey, I want to be with you the entire weekend. Fuck my brains out, dude. Or we both know. Teach me English for the entire weekend, right? But the point was, her reaction was so extreme, you know what I mean? I was just like, whoa, And I'm like, no one in your entire life has ever asked that if you're okay, if you don't want to do something right. You know what I mean? And, for me, someone that also can be insecure, I was like, whoa, and I like felt that, you know what I mean? I'm like, whoa, no one has ever asked you your entire life if you're okay, how you're doing, you know what I mean? And it made me feel really bad for her, right? Because, when I talk about the omoiyari, the gaman, you know what I mean? That empathy, that extreme empathy in that gaman, we're always going through something, but we got to keep going. But since I'm like a omoiyari, you know what I mean? Like, I also think that other person is going through something, so I can never talk about how I feel. We can never talk about how we feel, right? You know what I mean? So it's like a double-edged sword. People stay to themselves, and then you think about what I was talking about. People come to a place like Shinjuku or the city, like say a more peaceful suburban thing, like when I was in Inagi, very peaceful suburban kind of place, you know what I mean? Or even here where I am now, I've talked to grandmas. I told the story, I was talking to that grandma recently. She's like, I walk 6 meters a day. And I'm like, 6 meters a day? Whoa, slow down. She's like, I'm crazy. But I mean, you saw the way she walks, bro. 6 meters is a lot while we were talking. Anyway, dude. But, so, you have this quiet suburban life, and then you go to the city to let loose because you're going to have to come back. Just like when I talk about, I remember seeing those documentaries when I was like younger about all those loveless marriages or the sexless marriages. So the husband goes to the city to have sex, you know what I mean? But then he comes back home and then the family is back together. The wife lets him because they know as long as they're a family, it's okay. You got to get stuff out sometimes. Like I said, even the wife supposedly, from what I understand, can do stuff, but people talk to each other so rarely, who knows how much it happens. But so the point is, this young girl, you know what I mean? She wanted that experience. And in a way, and I still regret it, I ruined that for her, right? By being too empathetic, right? It should have been like afterwards, we should have talked about everything. Like, hey, let me hold you. You're so fucking adorable and sweet, Then we can do it again, whatever, you want. But I felt really bad for her. And then it was sucked because then I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even really get hard. You know what I mean? It's like, oh God, like you're cute, but this is just like, it took me out of the moment too. Right. And I remember when I was talking to other Japanese dudes about it, you know what I mean? Because they're like, oh yeah, that's normal, dude. No one cares. Hey, go take it. She wants that, dude. Like this is like, you have to experience new things in life. You were supposed to be that experience. And some guy's like, oh my God, she cried. She's like, oh, that's my fucking dream. She's like, God, I wish a girl would cry for me one day. She's like, oh my God, I would get even more horny. She's like, what were you doing? She's like, you didn't get harder. And like I said, this isn't foreigners I'm talking to. This is other Japanese dudes, you know what I mean? While we're like, shooting the shit and talking about it after. And like, oh my God. They're like, she had boogers. Like, oh my God. She's like, dude, that was the dream. Why? That would have been, I'm like, well, it wasn't like we were actually like fucking it happened. She just started. She's like, I don't care. None of these dudes, they're like, that was awesome. Or that should have been. I would have been so horny. But and the point is, I was like, oh. And so anyway, I couldn't do the girl. Because I felt so bad, and it took me out of the moment. Because I wasn't, maybe again, if you're having sex and you cry a little bit, how much you love it, or blah, 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 or cry afterwards. But I wasn't expecting that extreme reaction. And what I'm talking about there is, you know what I mean? It is kind of sad that you would think that, and maybe I'm saying this to justify it myself. Sometimes when you talk, you say things to make yourself feel better about the situation. And in that way, I am trying to be like, I was the good guy. You know what I mean? It is a nice thing to do. But then at the same time, I do know that it ruined the moment for this girl. And maybe this girl, who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? I mean, this girl, for all I know, she could be dead. Maybe she killed herself. I have no way. I've never fucking talked to her again. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, maybe she thinks that she's ugly. Maybe she thinks that, oh my God, this guy, I thought I was going to go with the hot American guy. Oh, when I walk past, goes, oh my, ikemen, oh, cho ikemen, oh, oh, yeah, bye. When you walk past some of these girls, and then some of them will actually come up to you and talk to you, which is, apparently, is very strange. Like people are like, whoa, girls actually, I can't believe girls actually come up and talk to you. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's, but it happens, so. But maybe this girl thinks that I think she's ugly, and it wasn't even that. It's just like, I just was not expecting that extreme reaction. And, you know, again, deep down, I also know that I should have lived in the moment myself, because it ruined the experience for both of us. And, you know, from a certain perspective too, when I talk about the non-maliciousness of Japan, you know, you could look at that from the perspective of, again, maybe people don't really care about each other, but the fact that, you know, just a girl, man, we know each other for fucking 5 minutes. We just talked for like 5 minutes. And she's like, I want you to take me home for the entire weekend and just teach me English. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, it's weird. Although that's kind of like, I feel like that's anywhere in the world. For some reason, sometimes I have like a very good like first impression of people, because maybe people think I'm cool, which I'm not. But you know what I mean? I guess that kind of shit is, you know, sometimes I fake being cool by first impression, I guess. But, you know, it sucks, and I do worry about that girl, and she's okay, and who knows if she thinks that I thought she was ugly, and who knows, I would hope she's alive. I hope she didn't think I thought she was ugly or something like that, you know. It's like, and of course it would have been, God, like I said, it should have been a great experience for both of us, right? Like, whoa, I'm in another country, you meet someone, you have an amazing weekend, you go your separate ways, maybe you become friends and you still talk sometimes. Excuse me, but unfortunately, you know. But again, I kind of wanted to focus on the idea that it kind of shows that extreme of a reaction, maybe nobody really talks to each other, right? And that girl's like, wow, no one's ever asked if she's actually okay, if she doesn't want to do something, right? And I think it's kind of sad in a way, right? You know, but you know, then again, you could also say, you know, maybe it's not just anywhere in Japan. Maybe, you know, it's everywhere in the world. People don't actually have real empathy for each other. Sometimes it feels like, you know, only convenience, you know, and empathy of convenience. Oh, it's convenient to feel empathetic towards this person because of my perspective, where I am at in the world at the time, you know. But yeah. Anyway, remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. PayPal, Super Chat, Patreon, you know, super like if you want to. It does help out the channel. The end.